how many of you have experience in the public safety sector? And please explain. But I think I'd also add to that public and or private safety sector, if there is such a thing, or what you're doing now, what do you bring to the table for your position of trustee? How's that for a question, Ms. Howard? Well, actually, let's put three questions together because the game's going on. So.
My husband didn't even come here because he wanted to go to the watching instructions. The experience with public safety, I'm not going to lie, I don't have that experience. I mean, unless you count the military, that's a different aspect of safety for, our troops and everything like that in our country. Even for the private sector, I do focus on just community activism. So any kind of public safety, all I have is the experience of the Stark County Citizen Police Academy and what I've learned about the different programs and the different departments that they have. If there is a concern about our public safety or the private safety sectors, I would collaborate with the leaders of those departments to work with them about what we need to be handled, depending on what the situation is.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Sabo?
As I stated in the introduction, I have 44 years in the fire service in Plain Township, but it actually extended well beyond that. I had a very specific role in the state of Ohio's emergency response plan. I was a Region 5 coordinator for the 13-county NECO region in Ohio. And I was deployed with Ohio's Incident Management Assist Team to St. Bernard Parish, Louisiana, in the aftermath of Hurricanes Katrina and Rita. And it was a life-changing experience for me because it was just unbelievable in terms of not only what we did, but the actual human interaction. Sure, we went there to do some very specific operational things, but the lessons that I learned there were actually more human, interpersonal than they were operational. I've had a lot of experience in the interaction also with our local LEPC, that's a local emergency planning committee, and they do SARA Title III, Right to Know. I've also been a part-time employee for the Stark County Emergency Management Agency, and I've taught in the Fire Science Academy at Stark State College for the past 37 years.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hahn?
Ultimately, there are a number of things I believe I'm able to draw upon from my experience in the public sector as township trustee, to that my role as a director of operations in the private sector. As township trustee, because of our relationship through the sheriff's office, we've actually been able to create a partnership that allows us to house the Northeast Ohio Violent Fugitive Task Force. That's something that doesn't just benefit Plain Township. It benefits greater Stark County. It helps tackle some of the opioid epidemic to some of the worst criminals that are out there. As well, I sit on the Stark Council of Governments as an executive committee member, where they're tasked with, helping push forward the whole centralized dispatch, to which Plain Township, quite frankly, outside of Jackson having their own dispatch, Plain Township is the first community to fully centralize all of their dispatch with fire and police out there. So that's going to help enhance safety and well-being. Two, in furthering my own knowledge and experience, having been a 2017 graduate of the FBI Citizens Academy, learning more about international domestic counterterrorism, white-collar crime, political corruption, crimes against children, to focuses on the opioid epidemic. There's some things there to doing regular ride-alongs with our staff to better understand what it is when they make those requests.
Thank you, sir. I think we went through everybody, right? Okay, so next up,
I'd like
you
to
speak?
answer.
By all means. Okay, sorry. I told you it was going to happen, right?
Yeah, no problem.
You heard the scores tied up.
Actually, I do have the score. I'm not going to tell anybody about it.
Is that the thing that was handed to you right there? Was the score? Nice. I guess my experience in the safety sector, Well, first of all, I mean, the house I was raised in, one of my favorite childhood smells was smoke. My dad coming home from a hard day's work, as John's kids probably are the same way in Maryland, you grow up with that and you associate that with, the person that you love and respect. And that's kind of, what drove me to be, where I am today, as a prosecutor. From a very young age, I was instilled with the need to give back. Both of my brothers followed my dad's steps in becoming firemen. I guess, not that crazy, John, to run into the building when it's on fire. So, I chose to do this route. And even though I went to Cleveland to get my law degree, I worked for the City of Canton Law Department all throughout that. And I have worked, for the residents of Plain and for, their surrounding communities and for Stark County as a whole, my entire career. And it's not as long as John's, but I got to tell you, I look forward to giving back, and as a part, when I was a criminal prosecutor, I really got to learn the residents, learn what their needs were and their concerns. And I worked with our deputies and our officers on a daily basis. And I feel like that brings a great amount of experience into the safety sector. Even though I'm not the one out there doing the work, I definitely have their backs and learn from the experiences that they have as well.